All right, we got to tidy up at least a little bit at some point. Hi, and welcome back to the messy garage, where we're still messy, although I did tidy it a little bit to try to get this video in. That was legit. That was not a setup. It's been a lot of car work lately, unexpected car work, I guess I'll call it. And so my garage is messier than even normal. But I did see something on the website and trucked over to Harbor Freight to grab a pair of these, or actually a set of these Daytona 3-ton jack stands. If you're looking, these are compared to the ESCO 10498s, which I actually happen to own. So I'll compare them a little bit and just kind of see what they're like. Now, I will say, just to give you a quick look at the ESCOs before we open up the Daytonas, you know, these are especially, you know, if you do a lot of heavy duty work or really want max stability, I think the ESCOs have been the one to beat for a long time. You know, this big beefy pin that holds the stand in place. I do have to admit, I've only used these a little bit since I got them. I got them pretty recently, and I really love the ability to kind of ratchet up and then pin. So these are just, you have to hold it with one hand and pin it with the other, at least as far as I've been able to figure out so far. And, you know, so I'm going to compare a little bit later. I think a more detailed ESCO versus the Daytona. But I felt like for now, you know, just acknowledge the 10498. The specs are really close in terms of max height and min height and all that stuff. And I'll do that more in a later video, but just wanted to acknowledge the elephant in the room to get started. But let's go ahead and cut open the box. All right, after a little, well, user error, I guess I'll call it. Let's open the box. Now I'll say, when I got my ESCOs, they were pretty box rashed. I mean, they are jack stands, so there's only so much about that I care about. But anyway, for these, there's a this side up scenario here. They're also kind of, I guess I'll say, minimally packaged for something this heavy. Of course, they're not shipping them. Maybe that's why they're in store only. I don't know. They maybe by not shipping them, they have less chance of bang. Instructions. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll do the other one. So I would say my first impression, as I'm pulling these guys out, is that they're very cleanly built. The welds look pretty nice. They're not sloppy. The pad seems nice and beefy, but it is attached or glued somehow where it comes off on my ESCOs, which is not great. Does have a serial number on it, which is kind of odd. Which is also, it's the same on both, so maybe, I don't know if that's really a date serial or something like that. But anyway, there seems to be more paint. Like let's get so you have these clips that go through a hole in the locking pin here. It snaps over, and it's just a little safety thing to keep this pin from coming out when you don't want it to. So you see the pin just has that one hole, which you'll notice here. So the post is painted where it's kind of a nickel plate, I guess, maybe on the ESCO. We'll have to look. Well, like I said, we'll do that when I do the comparison video. But, you know, beefy, this is pretty heavy. One advantage, if you will call it that, of paint is it is a little quieter, not quite so clanky, but who really cares? Again, it's a jack stand. There are two holes for positioning. It gives you a little bit of, you know, adjustment for how high you want your your jack stand. I know these are similar to in terms of specs to the Escos as well, slightly taller. And I'll do, like I said, when I go through the Esco versus Daytona comparison, I'll give you more chapter and verse on specs. But I would say this, they do seem maybe slightly less beefily built. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe just because it's paint and everything is so nice and sort of sealed up versus the Escos. These are 3 tons, so 6,000 pounds, where, and I believe that is a pair, not for each individual jack stand like Esco does. They actually have 3 tons per stand, so 12,000 pound versus Harbor Freight here claiming 6,000 pounds. And, you know, unless you're working on something bigger than a minivan, you know, a bigger, you know, mid-sized truck or something bigger than that, you know, this is going to be a really good solution, or something like this. You know, the Escos, of course, are awesome as well. But that's just a quick tour through the out of the box. I'm guessing, like I said, they're not available over the mail, so they don't bang each other to death, and they don't have to do all kinds of significant packaging to keep them from doing that. And the use is identical. You know, you have to use 2 hands, which is a little unfortunate. I really do kind of like the ability to have the, you know, bring it up to the ratchet height and with one hand, and I can use that same hand to put the pin through on the Daytona or the Pro Lift, you know, where they have the pin in the newer styles of jack stands. But anyway, I figured people would like to have a quick look. If you're wondering, you know, do these seem well built? Would I trust them with 6,000 pounds? Yeah, I actually would. I think they look really nicely built. They're very cleanly built. You know, and I do think Harbor Freight is really focused on quality and quality control since, you know, the unfortunate stuff of a couple of years ago. So that's it. My quick first look, and I really appreciate you coming. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It'll also obviously notify you if you subscribe when I do the follow-up, where I really will go into a little more depth on what these look like, the measurements of the post, the specs, etc., versus the Esco 10498s. But for now, I think these are winners. They're $89, $89.99 from Harbor Freight. And sorry, my little video thing, my user error. I forget if I gave you the part number, but it is 5878942. So I literally had to pull them out of the back, or have them pull them out of the back at Harbor Freight. I'm sure they're showing up now all across the country, and you know, they'll be in stock, I'm sure, continually once they figure it all out. So thanks for coming. Have a great day, and stay messy.